Hello everyone, this is part 15 of the video series titled More Dreams, Some Clues. Worm says LIN-3. In my last video, I spoke about code 777, that is 47. Your Independence Day, which happens to be on the 4th of July 1776. That is the fourth day of the seventh month, that is 47. I had a dream on the 15th of February 2021 pertaining to the US. This dream seems more from my emotional feelings and had an ending about which I have no understanding, and therefore I decided to keep it to myself. As I read Daniel 2:28 a month back, I felt maybe I should not belittle it but must publish it. The Lord's mercy. These days I'm spending a lot of hours preparing for some national exams. I was a bit disappointed not hearing from the Lord basically because I was not taking time to seek His face. But I have been concerned and was praying for the situation in the US. The Lord was too merciful to me to drop a clue from my scientific studies, even though I was not spending time with the word of the Lord as I should. In the dream, I saw myself as a student, and I was standing on the veranda on the second floor of a university building. My eyes were on a lady teacher who was holding a bunch of exam answer sheets in her arms. She was standing on the veranda on the second floor of the neighboring building. My eyes were straining hard to see the marks on the paper, and I realized that the answer sheet on the top had my name written on it, raising my heartbeat. I did not see very clearly, but I saw something like 80 marks on my paper. Something inside of me said then I must have come top in the university to my expectation. Since my answer sheet was placed at the top and 80 was tough to achieve, that was a possibility. I personally was only an average student, but after accepting Jesus as my personal Savior, I had a deep desire within to study and work harder, and because of His favor and mercy, I came top in my college for bachelor's and top in my university for master's degree. So I can relate to the anxiety waiting for the marks to be announced, especially when you are aiming to be the first. Later, I saw the man who serves as a missionary in my country and who was instrumental in drawing me to Christ, holding our answer papers. I was a bit surprised to see him in the university settings, like what is he doing here? Then the scene changed, and I was now on the stairs facing a big hall. I remember clearly that I was standing on the steps made of wood. I heard from John Redenbo, a spiritual interpreter of dreams, that if we remember certain aspects in the dream very clearly, it means that the Lord is reminding us that aspect is significant. I'll come to it later. I did not recognize the faces of the other students except one, but remember that there were many and we were all gathered there to receive our certificates and awards. Then the authorities in the hall started announcing the marks one by one and gave off the mark sheet starting from the lowest marks. Others received their certificates and I kept watching anxiously for my turn. Finally, I was the only person left. Then the missionary I saw earlier and the lady announced that the collector will give the final certificate, which was mine. Here we call the head of the district administration collector. I don't know if you have such a position there in US. Suddenly I was very disappointed because in my mind I was seeing your current usurper president as the collector and some of us were saying, no, not from a thief. Then they made a strange, weird announcement. This was what they announced. This time we have chosen this person, mentioning my name, who came first in the exams with high percentage as the collector. Then there was cheering from the crowd, and I went up and received my answer sheet and reward from the lady and the missionary. They also said to me, you can choose someone you like as your assistant to represent your country because you may not know how to sing the national anthem well. So choose someone you like to do that for you and you can focus on the main studies. Then there was great happiness as we did not have to tolerate that thief, and the dream ended. My understanding about the dream is that I represent the legitimate president, Donald John Trump, in the dream, and the marks I obtained reflects his victory in the election on a high margin. But I had to wait anxiously and stressfully until the end to get the reward which was due to me. The presence of the missionary points to the backing of God in all the stages. I know only one Wood in the US, that's your attorney Wood. He is going to be a firm base of wood on which the president can stand. The assistant I was asked to choose, I presume, is the position of the VP. A person who sings the national anthem very well is the clue. A true patriot who has the nation and people in his heart. The Lord has cleverly left a clue which is difficult to crack and which time will reveal. The Lord has revealed about the betrayer Eliashib and his team in November 2020 from the book of Nehemiah, which came to be true on January 6th and came as a shock. By January 1st, I knew it was him because the Lord reminded me that he will be wearing the pious religious garment. You can watch part 3 video for more details on this. Just before this, I actually had another dream in which I saw a bus in which there were several crazy young guys in sports costumes sitting in the front rows in the bus, and some were even lying inside the carrier boxes which are seen on the sides. They behaved like a bunch of hooligans, distracting the driver through their actions and were making terrible noise. Finally, I saw the driver rise from his seat and asked all the hooligans to go and sit in the back. Then my sister and some family members came and sat in the front seats, and the dream ended. The US is now in the hand of hooligans, whose actions are destructive and a threat to those who live in peace. Since I saw them in sports costumes, representing young and active, it has some significance. When it became unbearable to the driver, he had them removed from the front seats so that respectable, well-behaving family members could come and take their due place in the front. The driver represents the sovereign Lord who holds the steering wheel of the US, and he will send the hooligans back to where they belong and restore the front seats to the rightful ones, and thus save the nation from the hands of the destroyers. I was still wondering about the wood in the dream on 25th April, but just the wood, how can I conclude it's pointing to linwood? Surprisingly, I was studying the development biology of a roundworm called C. elegans. It's a very famous model organism and the first multicellular organism to have its complete genome sequence. Nobel Prize in 2002 and 2006 went for the work on this worm. It has an organ called vulva through which it releases the fertilized eggs to the outside. Inside the worm, there is a cell called Anger cell. Below the Anger cell, there are 6 cells called vulval precursor cells that has capacity to give rise to the vulval cells. The Anger cell produces an inducing signal and growth factor called LIN-3 and a protein named BOS. This LIN-3 signal is received by the lead receptors present on the 3 nearest vulval precursor cells, which transform to the vulva, and once the vulva is formed, the eggs can be set free. You can see the 3 vulval cells in green here. What caught my attention was the signal LIN-3 released by the Anger cell. I had been wondering about the wood in the dream, and now there's a lin popping up. I connected the dots to linwood, but then there is a problem here. It is LIN-3. Oops, that means 3 lins. Then I realized there are 3 lins I know who are well anchored in the Lord, working for their little boss Donald Trump and the big boss Jesus, and want to see the people and the nation set free. And here they are. General Michael Flynn, Lynn there, attorney Linwood, and the pillow guy Mike Lindell. So there are three Lynns. Now you know that I'm really crazy. That's how I also felt. I told my mom about it. I was reminded the verse from Acts 26:24, which says, "At this point, Festus interrupted Paul's defense. You are out of your mind, Paul," he shouted. "Your great learning is driving you insane." "I'm not insane, most excellent Festus," Paul replied. "What I'm saying is true and reasonable." This is an excerpt from the conversation between the Judean procurator Festus, King Agrippa, and Paul from the Bible. By the way, there was a time in January when I decided that the Lord would give me a word regarding Linwood, like He gave me about your former VP and team. There were so many confusing opinions about these two from the people. Now at least I know who cannot be trusted and who can be. If we are sincere, God can use even a worm to speak to us. On March 4th, I woke up from sleep after seeing a dream involving a husband and wife, but I couldn't recollect anything from the dream. But I heard the name Ayatollah Khomeini, the Iranian religious and political leader. His name I heard clearly when I woke up. Something is going to happen this year. Only time will reveal what. Thank you for your patience and time.